This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Ad Hoc Grant Search Committee for February 13th at about 12:40 p.m. And we have Bruce and myself. Kate Rooks hopefully will be joining us, but we also have Diane Moss from Fuss and O'Neill, who's been our consultant on the ECHO One Stop Grant Program / MVP. I'm not sure which, both, I guess, right?
Oh.
Anyway, so I think we'll kind of jump right into it. We do have a set of minutes, but that can wait until if Kate comes on, we'll take a look at those. But not to spend a lot of your time, Diane.
Sure.
So I think we wanted to just kind of do a little bit of an overview of where we are with the project Stay Cool. The surveys, as you've noted, are out and about. The one for older adults / senior population. It's been out for probably about a month, I guess.
About a month.
Now.
Yep.
And I know Kate was asking that it be open at least until the end of February. So I believe that's happening.
Absolutely.
And did you say how many you had online for that already?
I think it's 28. I think it's
okay.
So
not a
not bad.
lot,
So about
but
half paper, half, sounds like half paper, half online. So let's see. Yeah, 28 on that and 23 on the youth one that just launched. So that's a good,
nice. Okay.
it's a good
Well, the youth
response
one,
there.
I would expect, a fair
Yeah,
number online too. And I
right.
know that QR code, they're probably through the SYA and the school, they'll be getting that out
I think so.
to
Yep.
parents, and I'm sure that one would get around a lot
Yep.
quicker.
Absolutely.
The one for the seniors, I think it definitely there's a lot on paper.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they left them at the library. I might check with Kate on that because
Okay.
I'm thinking too, not just at the senior center, but people that go to the
Maybe there.
library that maybe
Yep.
haven't seen that. I think
Mm-hmm.
that might not be a bad idea, at least for these last couple of weeks. Maybe we can grab a
Sure.
few more that way too.
Yep.
The other thought I had, a question I had, I guess, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe she's already clarified this with you, but
Mm-hmm.
with the paper copies that Kate has collected, Kate from COA,
Mm-hmm.
um, she would be the one that would be doing the online entry on those.
Yeah, if that's possible, that would be great.
Okay.
And that would get them in the same format. If it's just too much of a lift, I can see if I can get some admin staff here to or one of our
Okay.
interns to help us out.
I think when I last talked to her, she led me to believe anyway that with a couple volunteers' help, I think
Okay,
she could
that'd be
get those
great.
entered in. I don't
Yeah.
think they're terribly difficult to
Yep.
do. So
Okay.
good. So hopefully that
Great.
will be
Okay.
done. But yeah, so I think so that one at least to the end of February, unless she says anything
Hmm.
differently. And I'm sure if there's a straggler here and there in March, then no big deal, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm not going to
And
close it. I mean, I won't
right,
close the surveys. We'll just,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then the youth one would be probably into the beginning of May, or what were we thinking
You
there?
know, I think so, at least through when we have the listening session, which we're working on setting up.
Okay.
And I think if we could, because ideally, between what we can grab with the surveys and what we hear through the listening session, we want to use those two things together to kind of inform some of the concept designs.
Mhm.
So probably at least until that point, and I think that's something that we're hoping to definitely do in March. We need to have the listening session in March. We could probably keep it going beyond that. Like
Okay.
again, it's really to get as what we can to inform the input, inform the design, but there's certainly no harm in leaving it open a little bit longer to get
Yeah.
more participation if
Well,
we
Yeah,
do you
can.
right.
have a desired target number for these, aside from as many as possible?
Yeah, it's hard to, it's really hard, and it's hard to know. Like, I'd be curious. I'm trying to think. I don't know off the top of my head, like what the school population is, like how many kids you are at the North
About
School.
458
About
thereabouts.
458. Yeah, I mean, in an amazing level of participation is like 30%.
Yeah.
So if you got like over 100, that would be like
Mhm.
tremendous, right?
Mhm.
For the
So,
school.
same for the
Um,
seniors then.
and same for the seniors, right? So if we get, you know, like it'd be great to get 100. If we've got 50, it sounds like we have a solid 50, 60 now. But
Mm-hmm.
that's not nothing, that's not 5 people. So it's, we'll be able, I think, to glean some insight from that. So yeah,
Right.
I mean, ideally, you'd love to have like at least 30% of your population. In reality, it's really hard to get that with any survey. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I know when we did our master plan one a few years ago, we had
yeah,
a large one. We had 800 or 900, but that was only like a 15%,
yeah, of the
result, I think,
population. Yeah, right,
realistically.
right. It's
But
hard. Yeah,
but it was the
yeah.
PVPC was quite impressed.
Yeah,
It's like,
no, that's
whoa.
that's pretty, yeah,
So
that's impressive. So
yeah, we
yeah,
managed to get that one done. But anyway, so a listening session, and that'll be for the school population,
right,
basically sometime during March.
right.
Okay.
We think sometimes, yep, we've had an initial, I had to reach out. I'm trying to set a time with the principal. They're on, break, and she's
Break.
also on vacation next week. So we push
Great.
it to the week after. I gave her some time. She's going to get back to me. We'll set that up. And that's just to have a coordination meeting, like with her, to get her input. Like, how does she want to do it? Does she want to do it during school, after school? Should we do it as part of,
Right.
some other event, whatever? Have her meet the landscape architects who are working on it, and then we'll look for a time that works for the larger listening session. And the landscape architects will start kind of working on that in the background. Pretty much probably starting in March.
Okay. And that'll be for all that great outdoor stuff and
That'll be
looking
the
at
outdoor space. Yep.
what's
Right.
possible. Okay.
Right.
All right.
Yep.
And their work would be more again, conceptually and a design kind of
Exactly.
thing,
Yeah,
right?
kind of giving getting some feedback from the students, from the parents, caregivers, teachers. What are people, what are people concerned about? What do they see as, wow, we're really lacking this? Also looking at some opportunities maybe around the school. I think we had included like potentially looking at, is there a possibility to incorporate green infrastructure, those sorts of things. Interestingly, the school, that area is identified as a hotspot by Massachusetts, by the state.
Really?
Yeah, so it's a good place to do, to be looking at those kinds of things. So, and that's
Wow.
based on just, paved area really there. So,
Okay.
yeah, so we'll get that going in March. And then, of course, we have our event, that like the Corey Rosenthal fan air thing event coming up. That'll be a little bit closer to the end of the grant period. I don't know if we had April or May. That might have
Thinking
been.
it was May, but I
think
could
it was
be
a
wrong.
May timeframe too. Yeah.
Right,
So
because the grant goes until the end of June. Is that
grant
right?
goes till the end of June, right? Yep. So those are the other kind of two, and we'll also have, based on what we hear from the feedback from the survey, we'll also craft kind of the education and outreach materials for that too. And that actually would be something that Kate, Board of Health Kate, would be great to also get, have that coordination. Interestingly, like right now, it'll be interesting to see the second group of the seniors. I mean, pretty much what comes through in that seniors or the older adult survey is, I'm not really keen on going to a cooling center. Kind of want to stay home. Which, leads me to believe that maybe the most effective outreach is around like, okay, how do you stay safe in your home? Should there be thoughts around and any kind of like check-in sort of program? I know someone had mentioned, maybe it was Senior Center, Kate had mentioned, that there was a way like folks could sign up to just kind of have a wellness check.
There's a check-in wellness thing with the police station. Yeah, with the police.
Yeah.
And especially over winter time.
Yeah.
But there are wellness checks, but they do have to sign up for it. Yeah.
But they do. So that might be, some of those things might be places that we could get more, kind of focus some of the outreach and education, and also around like, hey, if one of the things we see a lot is if people are taking medication, they have no idea or they're not as aware, it's not that high on their radar of how heat may affect, how they may be affected by heat because of the medications they're taking too. And just having that awareness to have that conversation with their healthcare provider, I think could be really helpful information. So they kind of have a plan for high heat. So we'll see when we get all the surveys in, kind of where we think it might be most applicable. But people said, they did also give opinions on like what would be the best hours or what would help them get there to a cooling center. So there was some of that info as well that I think we can glean from that too.
And how
So,
much in your executive summary of that survey can you sort of include caveats that the survey was done in the midst of sort of historic cold weather,
snap, yeah,
and
yeah,
people are not thinking of
yeah,
concretely about the coming climate change that'll be here in 5 years,
yeah,
10 years, 15 years, which is the
right,
focus of this, the
right,
emphasis of this
yeah.
study. So,
Yeah,
um,
that is always a challenge. And I think it's hard for people, especially in the middle of winter and especially in the middle of a really cold winter, to be thinking about like, okay, what is it really like when it's, 90 for
yeah.
3 days in a row? And I think I just saw something that said for Massachusetts, actually, where we in the Commonwealth start to really see emergency department visits spike is 85 degrees, which is not like that high, right? I mean, it's hot, sure, but it's not like 90, 95, which is what I think a lot of people think of. But I guess, what we're seeing is, yeah, around 85 degrees, especially 3 days of 85 degrees. That's enough to start like the break point in the emergency department visits, which was kind of interesting. So a little bit lower than we thought. So we'll use all of that to inform the outreach materials. So that'll kind of happen concurrent with the like the design pieces going on. So that's kind of the next phase. And
There she comes.
There she is.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm so sorry for joining late. I had an emergency I was doing.
That's okay. That's
No
okay.
worries.
Good to have you here.
All right. Yeah. Good to see you again.
Good. We were just talking about the surveys that are ongoing, and we've got 50 or 60, I guess, already from the adult population, and about 25 or thereabouts close to it for the youth that just actually that one just got launched. So that will get out probably broader through the school and SYA.
Yep.
So with all that, now you sent around to, I mean, I guess where we're aiming, right, with this MVP grant that we have, but then what we were trying to see is whether or not we could do something for the Echo One Stop grant itself, right?
Yes.
So remind me that's going to be the application in under the MVP portal, or is it its own portal?
Yes, so you go into Echo One Stop, and then that takes you into MVP. So it kind of like branches. Okay. So you answer these like core questions, and then you go from there. And originally we had thought maybe we'd have enough, be far enough ahead for also the Cooling Corridors grant. If there was tree planting done. I don't think we're going to be there because it requires a planting plan and all this. Right. And I think the timing is just not going to be great. I think I would say put a pin in that one for next year, because I do think next year it would be competitive for Cooling Corridors, especially now knowing all the things that it requires, the planting plan and all this other stuff. We could definitely sort of, kind of plan for that. And then also if there were other, kind of other sorts of things as well, other kind of physical improvements around the playing fields or other things. Yeah.
Right. So right now the Echo One Stop, the actual application itself is due March 20th, I believe.
Yes, correct. Yep.
Okay. So with that, kind of what were you thinking? I know you passed around the draft report from Norris that shows about some of the infrastructure things, and I was in a way kind of glad to see that there was kind of low emphasis on the solar. I think that's fine. For me anyway right now. And I think the HVAC was a lot more encouraging than I thought. What I read of it, what I understood of it, sounded a bit more encouraging than I thought it might be, frankly.
Yeah, so definitely it's feasible. And from what I understand, and again, I'll say, I'm not a mechanical engineer or electrical engineer for that matter, but what those folks are telling me is that, absolutely feasible to swap out the equipment. The equipment's at the end of its useful life anyway. So really any kind of change that's made should be looking to ideally, it'll improve efficiency probably, but also allow for heating and cooling. Michael Berg, who's our mechanical engineer, who unfortunately I was going to invite him to join today, but he has a all-day training, safety training. and there's a little bit in that report about the potential for use of heat pumps, which might be something that actually could be of interest, because it could address heating and cooling. And from what I understand from him, kind of switch off some of the reliance on gas, or other fuels that would be electric. So that is something that could be looked at in the design phase. It felt like battery was not going to work there because it would have such a huge footprint,
Right.
that it probably wouldn't be worth it. Solar would be feasible, likely. It would just take some more specifics on the structural, but
Yeah, I think the roof
it's
reinforcement wouldn't be my first place to
it
go.
wouldn't be the first, yeah. But I think overall, providing the cooling, looking at the feasibility, when you get into the design, that's where they can really dig into the design and say, okay, preliminarily, looks like heat pumps would be possible, which I know is something that the Commonwealth's very much in favor of, might have some advantages for the school. Generator backup, you could certainly do. That would give you that, that backup for that space.
Now, one thing on the grant programming, if I'm reminding myself, there were various categories. So the cooling corridors we put aside,
right? We just stick with MVP.
just MVP by itself.
Yep,
So
just
it's
by
not
itself. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
And at this point, the way they usually focus it is, there's this sort of stepwise of like preliminary planning, which is basically what we did this year, what's ongoing now. And then moving into like actual design with the idea that after that, you then go for construction money, right? So
Okay.
MVP used to allow municipalities to say, we're going to go from planning to design, or design through construction. And what they found was that most municipalities just can't get it done. And we're asking for extensions or rollovers into the next year. So now they're just like, chunk it out, do the planning, do the design, come back to us for construction money, and go from there. So
this would be a design phase that we would.
So this would be a
at.
design phase, and that would get you through. Okay, here's you've made your final decisions around which. I mean, you could assess the feasibility of like, okay, what would more specifically, what would heat pumps look like? What would cooling? What just swapping out the equipment look like? I think the question that we would envision is that we'd want to understand, do you want to look at both options, both spaces? Do you want to just focus on the cafetorium? That could either be a decision you make, or you could make it through the design process.
Okay. I think a large part of that's got to, obviously the
school,
folks at the school have got to be totally involved in this. I mean, we're just the, the writer bodies. We're not the decision makers on this.
Right. Yeah.
So we'd have to, get another meeting with them sometime after vacation, which, again, we're pushing a timeline.
Right.
I mean,
right.
after vacation is already practically March 1st.
Right.
And 3 weeks to pull a grant together. So
I think for our purposes, because it's fairly limited in scope, you're not asking for a big thing. You're asking to advance the design. And do that design development. I think that would be a pretty narrowly focused project. We would need to include some engagement, which potentially we could build off of, what we're doing now. I'd have to talk to the landscape architects to see if it made sense to try, if they could sort of foresee where they might take the kind of the next step on the playing field side. If there's something that's logical in there, that they could reasonably foresee while we're still in the process. But I think it's feasible if that's something the town wants to do. I think in terms of pulling together the pieces, I know, that's something that we're willing to, support you on and help do that. So happy to try to move it forward, because I think it would be, from the initial interview or the initial EOI call, I think that's something that, certainly Andrew was not saying, don't bother. I mean, I think he felt pretty encouraging. There's no match because of, the size of the community. So that's an advantage too.
Okay.
I just have one question about like
Sure.
the heat island
Mm,
interventions. Is it like would this possibly help to supplement like a shade structure for the tarmac? Because I'll
yeah.
tell you, there's this place in this school in Holyoke that has two
Mhm.
basketball courts that are under a metal roofed shade
Yep.
structure. And I was thinking about how amazing that would be behind Norris. I mean, it's
Yeah.
so sweltering hot there, and I think it
Yeah.
would help. And it also is serving in the winter too because
Right.
it protects against snow and allows kids to play outside. So
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I just thought it was amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
I go to see my grandmother at an assisted living, so I drive by there a lot, and
Yeah.
there's kids outside playing basketball in the winter.
Yep.
Mm.
And there's
Yeah.
also in the summer, it's shaded so people can play outside. So it's like a durable metal roof structure.
Take a
There's this
take a
tiny
couple photos
little,
next time, Kate.
I'm
Take a
sorry?
couple photos.
I will. I'm sure it's something Sullivan School.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we're actually working with Holyoke on their MVP project. So well, I have folks who may be familiar. That wasn't part of an MVP project, but yes, to answer
Mhm.
your question, Caitlin, that could be something that, try to advance funding for something like that.
And
Yeah.
from the get-go, could you consider solar canopy
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Oh, interesting.
as it may not
Yeah.
offset the electric demands of the HVAC system, but it seems like I would love to have any push possible, because once the investment is made, the payoff will be quick, and then
Right.
that's money that is no longer going to the utility company, and
yeah,
even
yeah.
if
Hmm.
it's only a small percent. So
Yep.
I'd really push heavily on solar canopies
Mm.
as
Hmm.
the shade structures for anything.
Well, like look at the co-op. It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
so awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's definitely something that could be so that like the design of something like that is something that you could include in this
Mhm.
Mm.
for
Great.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
yeah, it'd be a shame to put up a structure that could not accommodate solar.
Right, to do
It's
more with it. And it would
yeah.
also kind of take away that any concerns with the roof, right?
Mhm.
Which is
Mm.
always
Yeah.
it can be challenging.
Mhm.
So okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think it'd be better to try and tackle, some of it, not that they're smaller, but I mean more easily
Kind
achievable,
of
I guess I
bite
would say.
size. Right. Yeah.
Kind of
Yep.
things rather than, biting off much
Well,
more than we can chew.
and I think the reality of it is for municipalities like Southampton, there are certain things that are going to scale to your needs, right? And you are not alone. There are many communities, that are more your size or, not everybody Springfield, Holyoke, Chicopee, Worcester, there are different types of solutions that are needed in smaller communities that still have the same, kind of some of the same challenges. So I really like that solar canopy idea,
Yeah.
Bruce, and that is likely something that would have come out in the listening session, but this gives us kind of a jump on it as
Mhm.
something that we could definitely
There you go.
yeah.
So like this is the structure that I was talking about, but you can
Yeah.
see
It went away somewhere,
We
or hang
lost
on,
it
I
for
just
a
lost
minute.
it.
Sorry.
Hang on, I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
sharing
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
But
even
yeah, you could certainly put solar or something on that, but you can see what I was talking about in terms of like
Yeah.
there's a whole like playground under there.
Yep.
And it says new pavilion expands learning and recreation space. That sounds so nice.
but
Um,
if you're solar forward, then you're thinking right from the
Mm-hmm.
get-go is what's the ideal placement to optimize the
Right.
solar
And the
and provide the
orientation.
shade that's needed,
exactly.
Yeah.
as opposed
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
oh yeah, let's put solar and the thing was built under a bunch of trees or,
Right.
or too
Exactly.
close.
Yeah, that's smart. So
Yep.
Yeah, no,
solar
that could be interesting.
readiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I really like that. Yeah. Yeah, that is something that we could definitely say we want to advance this in the design phase. And I
Yeah.
think that would be really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
All right.
And
All
so
right.
it would be sort of a design focused. We'd have some kind of community engagement associated with that. We could think
But
about that a little bit.
yeah, because
But
the listening session that's already going to be planned that
Yeah.
probably won't occur before the 20th. I
It
doubt it.
probably won't. So we,
Yeah.
but we'll have some survey information, and I think we'll be
Sure.
able to weave that into the story.
Okay.
So we'll definitely plan to do that. And I can think a little bit about what community, and I also would like to see what's coming out of the surveys about what might make sense for community engagement. Because if we hear people saying, "Oh, we really want to learn more about how to recognize," I don't know, heat illness in athletes, like, oh, we don't know about that. We'd really like training. Maybe that's something that we could kind of lean into that. There's also a group at Boston University that I just saw them speak. They're at the School of Public Health that were interested particularly in working with schools on like heat and keeping kids safe in the heat. I did not follow up with them to see like, hey, what exactly are you looking, like what's your interest? But Bruce is now getting really creative. You're going to the ranker, yeah. And I think there is the possibility to be creative like that. Yeah, absolutely. So I could just see like kind of what they were doing. My guess is they're not working with any more rural schools. Like they're heavily focused on urban schools. So there might be a connection there. I can just make a general inquiry. I was interested in touching base with these folks anyway, with the work they were doing. So, okay.
Just like I also think this would be great for our public health excellence program. I'm always trying to think of how we can like share resources, but just to see if there's any other there's things that can be shared amongst our 14 member communities. Like it doesn't even have to just be Southampton.
Yes.
We're really trying to figure out how to regionalize things so it's a little bit more visible at the state. And I feel like, education doesn't have to be just Southampton specific. We can share it with the Northampton Collaborative and see if other communities want to promote it too. In terms of the surveys, Chris, is there a link to those somewhere? Because I'm also happy to help promote, because there's two communities.
Yeah, they're on, the COA one is on their COA website and Facebook, but both the COA and the older ones, older adults and youth are on the grant webpage, our town webpage.
Okay, because I can share. There's a Norris Facebook.
They would have been sent to Norris, and so the principal was putting them out.
Okay, because I was going to say we could put it on
sending
the forum and pin it.
Yeah. No, I'm sure Eliza would have done something. She was sending out a note, I think, to send home to parents, I believe, and SYAA has them, I know.
Yep.
So I'm pretty sure they would have gotten them on their Facebook pages. I'm thinking. I haven't had a chance to look myself, but on the town website, on the ad hoc grant committee page, both surveys are there.
Great.
So with that, and that's, we just wanted to get a sense of where we stood with that. So, Diane, what in terms of your team's availability to help kind of pull together something, you would be available to help us with this? And,
absolutely. What we have, and I'm happy to share this out, is we have a coworker. I have a coworker who's sort of taken the questions for MVP and stuck it in a Word document to kind of give us, because now there's also all these character limits that they had some of in the past, but they have more of now. So we could set up, again, I think we used a Google Doc last time. So let me pull that from her. I don't know if she's in today, but I'll have it by Monday. I can pull it and start, dropping some stuff in. We can collaborate on it. But I do think it's totally doable. I'm going to reach back out to the mechanical, electrical folks, because I think for the design proposals, you need sort of a design scope to go with it as an attachment. So I can work on getting that in the works. They kind of, I mentioned it to them and said, hey, might be looking for this. And they're like, yeah, there's no problem. We can, we're aware.
Just a point of clarification. I think I heard you say that, because there's two likely choices at Norris, the gym or the cafeteria, that we wouldn't necessarily have to make that decision now. That could be part of the design phase.
That can be part of the design phase. Yep. Yeah. Okay, and I would frankly recommend that, because you might decide, or the school or the school in town together might decide, hey, let's do both. There's value to both. I think it's My sense was that it was maybe slightly less complicated with the cafetorium, although there was some question about would there be any, how do you deal with the food prep area?
The kitchen area.
Yeah, the kitchen
Yeah.
area. So just want to like dive into that. But
I guess-
overall, both are possible for sure.
Okay, no, that's encouraging. I guess my worry in a way was that we were going to work with the school obviously, but all of a sudden make a decision on one or the
Yeah.
other, and I just didn't want to rush into
Yeah,
a
no,
decision like
and,
that.
and
So
you shouldn't. Yeah, it's good. It's better to like take, if one totally dropped out, right? And it was
Right.
just like take it off the table. It's not feasible. It's going to be too hard to do. There's no great equipment for it. Then I'd say, okay, the choice is kind of made for you.
Sure.
Here it's, I think you've got options. So why not carry that through and really know your full range? And it may also be the kind of thing where once you get through the design development, you may say, okay, we want to move forward on the cafeterium. We might be interested in the gym next year or the year after, whatever. Or, so it gives you that knowledge if you want to move forward.
Sure.
So you can make
Could
an
be something
informed
in
decision
phases if we needed to.
You could phase it. Yeah, something like that. But I think this does get at the question of like, is it possible? Yes. Do you want to, and we talked about solar, we talked about battery. It sounds like battery, not the, not the way it is now. But the other things are still on the table. So,
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that said,
okay.
I think that's good. That said, when might we want to get back together again? I guess would be a question.
Yeah.
Certainly all next week is school vacation and craziness. And I guess we do have another week after that, don't we, in February? I didn't realize that.
Yep.
Yeah. So we do have about a month out, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
A month of work time, not counting the vacation week. So.
Yeah. So I'm happy. I'm around next week.
I'm around next week. I mean, I'm working.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we could
Bruce,
meet.
You are or aren't? I'm sorry.
I am.
Okay.
We could try to meet next Friday if you want. Does this time bad? No. Okay.
Friday won't work for me. I have a funeral. So
oh, I'm sorry.
Maybe
what about Monday March 2nd?
23rd would be a Monday.
23rd?
I'm sorry. 23rd.
I
could do anywhere between 10 and 1.
I'm open then, so I'm flexible.
23rd, you said?
Yep.
All right. Want to try 11?
Is good for me.
Or what? Sorry. Go ahead.
23rd is good for me.
Okay.
What's
a good time?
Noon is great.
It's good. Okay.
Noon is okay?
That's good for me.
12 is
Does
good.
that work for you, Diane? Noon?
Yep, that's fine. Yeah.
12 o'clock, right?
Let's do noon on the 23rd. Sure.
Okay, perfect.
Sounds good.
Okay. I will get by like Monday-ish time frame, I will get that blank version of the application and I'll send that to you, Chris. And I don't know if you want to put it on a SharePoint or however you want to do, or a Google Drive. That's great.
No, that's fine.
And then also just if we're happy, I'm happy to set up a call with the once people have a chance to look at the report with the mechanical folks to walk you through that as well. Just a larger group too. The school and the town and the anybody else to kind of walk through that too.
Yeah, that's where I'm thinking that they probably aren't going to be available till like that following week because they're just going to be getting back from vacation on Monday that week. So but I think I'd like to get Tom LaValle, who's the
I think so too.
Mechanical person up there.
Tom would be great.
Get his input on this for sure. So whatever would work.
All right.
All right. Well, let's try that for now. The 23rd at noon. Okay.
Yeah, and I just realized on my calendar I'd be available till about 12:45, which generally covers the amount of time.
No, we're pretty much. As we kind of, we won't do a lot of group writing on the meeting. I mean, we do some checking and editing later on, but we try to get through the basic concepts of what we want to talk about and get them on paper. So that's good. But I think we'll try and get some other folks in there.
Great.
Yeah. Okay. Let's try for that and see where we go on that.
Sounds good.
Good.
Okay.
Well, Diane, thank you very much for
Yeah.
joining in.
Oh,
Much appreciate that.
absolutely. Yeah, happy to. I'm excited to, keep the momentum going. I think we've got some
Yeah.
good stuff. So I'll be back in touch with that link, and also I'll touch base with Kate at the Council on Aging around the paper copies just to confirm.
Right. Yep.
I
Yeah.
think we're
And just confirm to her that, if she can
if she
get
can
them
do it,
entered in, that would be great.
that'd be great.
I
Yeah,
think she was sort of assuming she would have to.
that would be awesome. Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, good. I'll
And
touch
I'll
base with her.
mention to her too about maybe having a set over at the library, because I don't
Yep.
know that there's any there.
Yep.
But
Okay.
we'll definitely have more paper copies from that population group anyway. But
Awesome.
even having both QR codes at the library too. I mean, that's where we'd pick up some other kids and stuff
Yep.
too. So
Yep.
we'll make sure that happens as well.
That sounds good. All right, great to see you all.
Thanks for joining
and,
us. Much appreciate
yeah,
it.
absolutely. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks, Diane. Bye-bye. Okay, guys.
I'm so sorry I was late.
That's
I had
okay.
a medical emergency and it
No,
was not
understood.
super great, but yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. So yeah, just a set of minutes from last time. I passed them around. I did a couple edits and passed them around this morning. So
Yeah,
from our
I
last.
looked at them. I have no additions or deletions.
Yeah.
I moved to
All
accept
I-
the
yeah.
minutes on this.
Okay. All I did was add a little bit more detail into the DLTA program, that second paragraph, just in terms of what that was all about. So that was my main big change, I think. So yeah, the main things will be this grant deadline on March 20th for this one. And then the other thing is the what's it called? Community One Stop for Growth, which we short name it One Stop. But that expression of interest is open now and will be open for quite a while. The actual application itself isn't due until May, but I'm pretty sure that that's something that others will take the lead on, namely related to that property on Zero College, just looking at what we might do for site preparation kinds of things that would qualify under this kind of infrastructure type grant. And by that, I mean, just looking at layouts for utilities and the road and that kind of stuff. It's that kind of, down to earth kind of planning, I guess, that would have to happen. So I'm kind of assuming that, talking to some of those people and Dodson and Flinker and, Stephen and Scott and various others, that might have an expression of interest coming out of there. So they'll probably take the lead on that, but we may be involved in that. And I think that's it for right now. We haven't heard any more about any FEMA grants coming out. I know the fire chief is looking for that famous grant from last year about the fire truck, but I haven't seen it advertised yet, so I don't know about that. But anyway, that said, did I have a motion to approve these? I'm sorry, I talked over you
Yeah,
guys.
Motion,
Yep.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
I just have a follow-up question about the congressionally appointed funding, because I saw quite a bit of chatter
Congressionally
about
directed spending.
yes, that.
Yeah.
So there was like a bunch of
CDS.
people that were complaining online about how it wasn't in line, and I know that you said that it was, and I just didn't know if there was anything else that we could be doing to have it like be listed in a particular place, and I might be using incorrect language, but I don't know, maybe it was one or two people that were like, it's clearly not outlined in the plan that the state puts out about congressionally appointed funding. And so I just didn't know if there was a plan to try to have it added, or if it was listed there and then the person's just speaking incorrectly, at which point.
I doubt at this point that they'd go back and add something that wasn't approved. I'd be surprised, but I mean,
Not that I'm saying that they would add it. I just want to make sure that it's like in the right, I don't know, vision at the state level for it to be added to those project lists.
Oh, okay. I mean, this is a call that comes out from Senator Warren and Markey's office, and Congressman Neal, I think, joined in finally last year. And it's usually one application. Neal may be separate, but Markey and Warren are usually a joint application. So when it goes into one, it goes to both. And so we've done that for the last, I don't know, I forget now, 2 years at least, if not 3. But our problem has been on the very first year was we were talking so theoretical about the future public safety complex. It was, I mean, there was no real chance I was expecting anything there. I think now we're much better grounded, if you will, in terms of just thinking about where we want to go with possible things. I don't know about getting it added in the past, but going forward, they put out the call. They put out a call to select boards saying, we're open now. We're ready to take any requests that you have. So usually we get that, I'd say probably by the end of March, it comes out. It depends on how fast they move. But, I've been trying to keep the grant page up to date. I mean, if you look at the grant page, I didn't put those up there because they're already a year old. But, some of the stuff I had up there and I took down. But let me just share the grant page. So, I don't know what to tell you, Kate. I mean, people need to take a look at the grant page and not just rely on Facebook too. But we've got various awards here every year. It was mentioned down in here from 2023, so I did mention it like right down in that narrative part, but I didn't put the the details of what the application was all about. So it's listing the kinds of things that we've done. So what other suggestions would you have? What level of detail are you looking for?
My suggestion. It was about Warren's website and Marquis' website about how like this proposed project isn't reflected there for 25 or 26. So I just didn't know if there was a way to but it sounds like you're already doing that.
Well, I can't control what they put on their websites,
no, of
obviously.
Of course, but I mean, I think it's helpful for people to know that. And this is just because people are going to come back and say that we're not applying for funding, so they're going to vote against any sort of town-appointed funding to be able to cover it. So,
fine. 26 has not been asked for yet. 25 was submitted, and I will make everybody happy. I will go find my application to the extent that it was available. Because once you put stuff online, you don't necessarily get a copy. I'll double check it, and I can put it on the web page for that if I've got the one from there.
And then I'm happy to link back and say, hey, the information to that is right here.
Yeah, and I would just like people to encourage people to keep using our website a little bit more. I mean, that's where, some news actually is sometimes.
No, of course, but I wouldn't want to refer them to our website without it answering the question. You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
Then they're just going to get more mad. So
I agree, but before people just assume that something hasn't happened, at least
I deal with this at my work all the time, Chris, and part of it is, and the only reason I bring these things up is so that to improve, like there's always this perceived lack of transparency and lack of action, and I absolutely know and trust that we are all doing everything we can. And I try to say, hey, if you ever want to write a grant, we have 3 people on this committee, but like also being able to respond and say, hey, just so you know, here's a copy of that application. Sorry, it's not on Marquis' website. We'll show them like, hey, it's not like we're asking you for money that we haven't already tried to solicit from the state, because that's the pushback with these overrides is like, what other funding or grant funding has been explored first?
Gotcha.
Yeah, I feel like it's cyclical, and I feel like it's going to be a tough lift for the public safety complex. Although that presentation was amazing the other night. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was a good presentation. Okay, I think that's
one
all we
quick
have.
Tangent.
Yeah, Bruce, sorry.
You come across anything that would be applicable for technology upgrades? I know you had a tech committee going before I came on. Even that presentation in the senior center, they would have benefited from a more powerful projector and a drop-down screen. So like there are things for the library and for the senior center, the town. If there are small grants that we could apply for, I'd be happy to work on that. If you see something that may apply, toss it my way and I'll see what I can do with it, or begin to work with you on it.
I think the other night at the senior center, the screen is new. That's a brand new screen. That is new. So that's gigantic, which I would assume if there was space enough at the library, it might be able to be used at the library. I'm not sure. But the projector, I think, was a borrowed one from the police department, actually.
Right.
That we used the other night, and then the library one is not not in
this
even
century. That screen, if there was a way to make it higher.
Exactly.
So that the people in the back, the visibility of that large screen is limited.
For sure. Yeah, no, I would think there is something. Yeah, the tech committee is not doing anything like that. In fact, they've been kind of defunct because we haven't been able to pursue the broadband initiative. So we talk about public safety and everything else. Broadband was one of our big initiatives, and that alone is going to be a gigantic dollar cost. So I mean that one's on hold too. So
I don't know. I can try to check with Kate about that AARP.
Yeah, she was looking into that.
But whether
I don't see anything on MCOA.
whether the AARP grant might also cover some technology
Yeah.
updates.
There was a couple little things like that. I know Kate was looking into that, and I don't know that she identified what was eligible, but that's relatively small amounts of money. The
Yeah.
other one I could take a look at, I know Diana and I used to try and get some money for the 250th was actually a Walmart grant.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
called, I think it was the Spark grant program or something like that. So we tried something like that. So that might be possible. Yeah, no, there's smaller groups like that are, more private groups in a way, or whatever you want to call them. Not the state type stuff, but much smaller that I think we could sure take a look at. Yeah, let me dig around, see if I find the information on that. I'll pass it on to you, Bruce, and you can take a look at it.
Okay.
Okay, good. All right, good ideas. All right, well, if we don't have anything else, let's have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, good. So let's adjourn ourselves at about 1:25 thereabouts.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.